Influencers is brought to you by
Joint Care, supplements to keep you active. Soya Studios, located in the Flowers Plaza, Carmichael Road West. Global Transformation Media, transforming you from the inside out. The Affirmation Nation. And Guardian Talk Radio. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. Welcome to Influencers on Guardian Talk Radio, 96.9 FM, and I'm your host, Lady Shema. This show is a platform to highlight the transformational impact of global and national influencers who use the power of their influence to promote positive change. We also bring focused attention to the personal stories of influencers with the hope that their tenacity in the face of hard-hitting challenges and their unrelenting resilience will inspire the comeback spirit in every local and international listener. And today, we take you into the mind of a fashion connoisseur who has come from the quaint and humble beginnings of the big yard to now being featured on the catwalks of the world's fashion hub, NYC, New York. He's now become an inspiration for Bahamian fashion designers and others within the Caribbean region, encouraging them to believe that their craft can also ascend to international and iconic status. Today, I speak with fashion influencer Kevin Evans, executive manager and owner at Kevin Evans Collections, as we discuss the topic, Bahamian-inspired fashion on a global stage. All this and more when we return here on Influencers on Guardian Talk Radio, 96.9 FM.
Hey, Dad, want a race?
Well, let's see who's trying to keep up with who today.
Oh, because you need a head start?
I'm already way ahead of you, son.
Keep up with what matters. Joint Care supplements your active lifestyle by supporting your bones, cartilage, muscles with essential nutrients. Joint Care helps to reduce inflammation with omega-3 and replenishes glucosamine, a natural compound vital to healthy cartilage and joints. Choose the Joint Care formula that is right for you. Supplex, Complete, and Max are available at your local pharmacy. Joint Care, a part of the 7 C's family of vitamins and supplements.
Need your picture taken? Well, if you want it to look its best, then go to the best. It's Soya Studios, capturing your special events, portraits, passport, job, and visa photos. Plus, there's more. Also offering professional printing services of business cards, letterheads, signs, and banners. Opened Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sundays, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's a legacy. 28 years and growing. Located in the Flowers Plaza, Carmichael Road. Call 361-7786. ACG Wholesale is the answer for retail grocery store owners and everyday shoppers who want to save big. ACG carries a variety of drinks, snacks, meat products, essential dry goods like rice and yellow grits, plus lots of wholesome produce. And ACG Wholesale is a proud distributor of Borden's Milk. Opened Monday to Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Located next to Phoenix Supermarkets on East Street South. Call 392-1155. That's ACG Wholesale with quality service and great prices. Welcome back to Influencers. I'm your host, Lady Shema, and with me today is influencer Kevin Evans, fashion pioneer and designer, as we discuss the topic, Bahamian-inspired fashion on a global stage. Kevin, welcome to the show, man. It's so great to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And, you know, it's a very, very, very wonderful privilege that I'm having right now. And that is to have the opportunity to interview someone that I've had the privilege of watching grow up, at least at a certain stage of your life, right? And
Definitely.
So this is very interesting for me because I've never really had this kind of an experience and pleasure before. And so let's start it off right there, as a matter of fact. Let's go all the way back. I know that we've got lots of great and awesome things to talk about, but I always love to go back to the beginning of the inspiration that has led to you becoming the influencer that you are. So I want to talk about the influencers of the influencer. So who are those persons who have had a major influence on the core values and the moral principles that shape and that have molded you during your teenage years, and then now eventually the young man that you have become?
I would say it all goes back to my parents, Robert Evans, who is now deceased. 3 years ago passed, and my mom, Rose Evans, from the great settlement of Nicholstown, and I call us the greatest island in the Bahamas, Andros. So
of course.
I grew up, yes, definitely. Uh, I grew back inside Nicholstown in a
Uh-huh.
small town called Evanstown,
Uh-huh.
where a lot of my family live. So my dad and my mom, actually, let me let you know this right now.
What's
I
that?
never ever had in my mind to be a fashion designer. Never had in my
There's,
mind to be a fashion
you know what?
designer.
I was actually going to get there, and I believe that because, growing up on the island of Andros, and I've had the
Yeah,
pleasure of growing up on the island of Andros myself,
yeah,
and of course is a very, very quaint place. And of course, a lot of great minds have come from Andros, right?
yeah,
But
yep,
nevertheless, still though, when you visit the island, it's really all about sun, sand, and sea, and about the love and
yep.
the hospitality of the people, and of course the kitchen, because Androsians could
Ah,
really put
there
it
you go.
down in the kitchen, right? But when you visit
Definitely.
Andros, you don't necessarily think about big time fashion designers going to New York, all right?
No,
Or
no.
persons on the big screen, or persons on the radio, or persons on the TV. But when you really dig and when you really do your research, you would find that lots of persons who have now become noted influencers are indeed from the big yard. They're from Andros.
Yeah, yeah.
So, talk a little bit about some of those lessons that you would have learned from your now deceased father and your mother that's really shaped you into thinking that, hey, even though this is a really big dream, a really big vision, I'm eventually going to be great. What did they say to you? What did you see in their own lives that really inspired this kind of greatness on the inside of you?
First, I have to say that my dad is one of my biggest inspiration. And actually, my parents, both of my parents, they were entrepreneurs. My dad always
Okay.
have been an entrepreneur from I knew my dad from I came from my mom's womb. Listen, from I knew him, he always was an entrepreneur. And I
Uh huh.
always had that instilled inside me. I always told myself that I always wanted to be my own boss.
Uh huh. And that's exactly
And I
what you
just
ended
watched
up
the way he
doing.
ran his store back at home, just the way he moved. I ended up doing the same exact thing. And I always wanted to follow inside their footsteps. And
Hmm.
now that he is deceased, my mom actually does the same thing. She actually runs the store back at home. Like you cannot beat her running that store back at home. And so I look at what she do, and she always sat down with me, and she's like, Kevin,
Hmm.
said, actually, she actually had me inside the store. They used to have me back home inside the store that we have home, and I used
Uh
to
huh.
do a little bit of cashing, packing bags. And she
Yes.
always used to explain to me, this is what you do, this is how you do what you do, and always try to, teach me in that way.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so you learn from early. And, it's really, really,
Yeah,
really important to have those persons who are ahead of us to really mold us and to train us in the way that we should go, because that's really lacking for a lot of young men. And so you're very, very blessed when it comes to that. And some persons don't see it as a blessing, but it really is a major
yeah.
blessing. Talking about that, though, talk to me a little bit about your transition from Andros here to New Providence, because I believe that that's when things really started to be awakened on the inside of you, right, with your transition here to the city here in Nassau. Talk to me a little bit about that transition from the big yard, Andros, to New Providence.
Sure. Before I even get to that, I just wanted to make mention as well. Back in Andros, I
Uh-huh.
always used to be inside my dad's closet, trying on his clothing. So I think that's where it
Oh,
actually started from.
uh-huh. Yeah.
And when
That's
he
some
come,
interesting
when he
insight.
and when he came home, he's like, "What are you doing in my closet? Why are you up on my clothing?" And he was let me, boy, take off my suit. And I would take it off. And then when he left, I would put it back on again. But I never knew this was the start of something so big. I always loved dressing up. He always used to be like, all you ever do is just dress up,
Yeah.
and never realized that this is what God had for me. And
Yes.
when I really transitioned from Andros into Nassau,
Mm-hmm.
I went at BTVI,
Mm-hmm.
and I always wanted to be an architect. That was my goal and dream. But then but somehow, some reason, I ended up doing fashion. But before I even went into fashion,
Mm-hmm.
I started doing electronics. When I went at BTVI for architecture, they never had that course. They never ran that course. So I ended up in electronics because a lot of my family members, my siblings, they do
Mm-hmm.
electronic work. And so my mom was like, why don't you just try electronics? Said maybe, you can make a lot of money from it. I said,
Yes.
okay, you know what? Let me try it out. I
Mm-hmm.
started in that class for about 2 years, hated it.
You
Hated
hated
it. I
it.
sat, hated it 2 years.
Wow.
2 years I sat in that class and I was like, this right here, I can't deal
It's
with
not
this. I
working.
can't. It's not working for me.
Uh-huh.
And so after that, I, said, I can't deal with this. Let me try and apply for something else. So I went back And I was at a point in my life where I was like a lot of people don't know, but a bit lost of what I really wanted to do
Uh-huh.
because I was like, I feel like I don't know what I want to do after I couldn't do architecture. I was like, now Lord, what am I going to do? What do you want me to do? Because right now, I don't even know what I want to do. So I went back at the school and I applied for interior design. So I
Mm-hmm.
started doing drapery and cushion manufacturing. And somehow when I went to the class and signed up for it,
Mm-hmm.
I was the only male in the class. And I was like, what?
The
I was
only
like,
male in the
how
class.
the only male in the
How did
class?
that make you feel, Kevin?
I wanted to leave.
Being
I
the
told
only
the
male in
teacher,
the class.
listen, I told the teacher, no, I just saying this is the wrong
This
class.
is not for
And so
me.
she said, this is not for me. And she said,
uh,
listen, just give it a chance. All she kept saying, give it
Give it
a
a chance.
chance. Say, you
Uh-huh.
never know what's going to come out of it. And I
Words of
was like,
wisdom.
words of wisdom. I sat
Mm-hmm.
down in the chair, and first thing she started off, mathematics. I said, "Oh my goodness, I know this ain't for me." I grabbed my bags and I headed for the door, and she literally had to walk behind me and talk me back into the class and say, "Listen, I
Mm-hmm.
understand that the class is full of females. I understand. Um,
Yes.
you wasn't expecting all of this." I was like, I can say, be honest with you, I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember the teacher's name, but I said, Mrs. So and so, like, honestly, I don't know what I want to do. I said, I don't even know what I want to do. I
You're
said, I
trying
know
to
I'm in this
find
class.
yourself.
Yes, I was trying to find myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into the class and we started, after we started to do some maths, she said, I would guide you through it,
Uh-huh.
and, we started to do some maths. I got better with it. And so when they started sewing, she realized that, listen, Kevin, that you're gifted. I watch you sew behind this machine. And she said, I can see that there's a gift that you
Yes.
have, but she said, you can't see it. But I'm the teacher and I can see, but you can't see,
Mm-hmm.
and I started doing drapes. I
Mm-hmm.
started doing like comforter sets and stuff. And I wanted a business actually in interior design.
Oh,
So I
wow.
actually, yes, I
So
started a
that's why you
business in
chose that
interior
program
design.
originally, after you realized that you
Exactly,
hated electronics. Okay.
exactly.
Uh-huh.
And so I started doing interior design, and I was really good at it. I did drapes. I actually decorated like different rooms.
Mm-hmm.
I could transform your whole apartment, house,
But I know you
just by doing.
definitely can. After the work
I'm
that I
telling
see
you,
you do. Most definitely. And
I,
you alluded to something that's very interesting. And I have
yeah,
had this same kind of a principle, so to speak, when speaking to
uh-huh,
artists. And that is, it would actually manifest in their childhood. And they didn't
yes,
realize that that was God speaking to them as to the
hmm,
direction that they should go in, right? I
yeah,
remember that
yeah,
when I was much younger, I used to watch the news a lot, a
uh-huh,
lot. You could imagine a little girl home in Andros always watching ABC,
yeah,
CNN, all
hmm,
these different news channels, right? But I didn't realize that I was actually developing a love for media, that I was learning
uh-huh,
how to communicate, that I was observing my mentors at an early age, right?
yeah,
And that's sort of what
uh-huh,
was happening on the inside of you when you would go into your father's closet and then you would
yeah,
pull down the suit and then you would put
yeah,
it on. And then you
yeah,
know what you were doing? You were actually looking at fashion from his day and you were
yeah,
taking it in, right? You were
uh-huh,
internalizing it. And so many times we don't realize that. And so, for those parents who may be listening right now, I just want to encourage them to watch what it is that your children have an affinity for. What are they drawn to? That's
hmm,
actually a message to you to give you
yeah,
some insight as to the direction that you should encourage them to go in. And so eventually now you went from the cushion and the drapery manufacturing program at BTVI, and then you went
uh-huh,
into another program, and this was the
yes,
one that really set everything ablaze for
that's
you,
it,
right?
that's it,
All right, so let's talk
yep,
about that experience.
that's it. So after I finished that course, and I just wanted more.
Yeah.
I wanted more. I said, listen, I want more.
Yes.
And somehow back in, I think it was 2000, I can't remember, it's in the early 2000s, I went to watch a movie called The
Uh-huh.
Matrix. And I sat down in that movie for the first time. And by the time I finished watching that movie, I said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to do fashion design. And it hit me like I came out there with not even a second thought. I said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, fashion design. That same night I came out of that show, you won't believe the following day I went into one of the arts and supply store, bought me a sketch pad, and I
Hmm.
started sketching from home. And from that day, I never put the sketch pad down. Never put
Wow,
the sketch
from
pad
that
down
day. So
from
who
that
was
day.
the character? Who was the character in the movie, though, when you saw how they were adorned, what they had
Uh-huh.
on, that really caused that spark to go off on the inside of you? Who's the person?
It was I was actually
Oh, it
Neil.
was all of them, huh?
Yeah, Keanu Reeves actually. He wore a black suit
Oh,
inside that. It almost looked like a Anglican bishop suit,
yes, I
with
know
a high
exactly what you're
collar.
talking about. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and the suit actually like was fitted and it flared out and it was actually on the ground. And from I saw that, I was like, wow. I said I want to design that same suit.
I
I want to
believe you.
design
You
these
know
types of
why?
suits.
Because
Yeah.
when I look at some of the work that you have done even recently, I can see that it's actually inspired by that. I don't know
Yeah.
if you can that inspiration is still flowing through the work that you're creating even
Yep.
today.
Hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about BTVI, though, the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute. I was thinking about this a little bit earlier as I was preparing in my mind, to interview you. And I was thinking about the role of the Technical and Vocational Institute. A lot of times we have when caretakers, parents, older family members, they would encourage younger persons, generally speaking, to really go in the direction of a traditional academic kind of pursuit, right? But that's not
Hmm.
necessarily the most suitable thing for every student or for every child. You can flourish, you can succeed when it comes to the technical and the vocational aspect because not everyone is really wired the same way. So I mean,
Yeah.
think about it now. Imagine the life of a Kevin Evans without a BTVI. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yes. Without BTVI, um, whew, man, I
You
don't
can't even
know.
imagine, right?
I can't even imagine
Yeah.
because even when I went there, I knew nothing about
Yeah.
sewing, nothing. And then it's so amazing when I went there to take up tailor and fashion design,
Uh-huh.
especially the tailoring side of it, because I really wanted to make and create my own suits. They
Okay.
never even they that semester they did not offer the tailoring course because they said that they cannot run the course for only one person because I was the only person that signed up for it,
Oh, wow.
you know.
Really?
And so they right, exactly they was like, we can't run the course. It's going to cost us too much money. We understand, and
You have to
so
meet
I
a certain
begged them.
quota, yeah, for it to make sense
Right,
financially.
to
Yeah.
make sense. And I begged until I went to the teacher himself who actually did the course. And I sat down with him. I said, listen, I said, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Kevin Evans. I said, I said, I want this so bad. I said, I want this as bad as I want to breathe. And when I told him that, he was like, whoa. He said, hold on. You scared me right now.
That's
He said,
amazing. That's amazing.
I,
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
said, that's how bad I want this. And I had my sketch pad. I opened it up. I said, I drew these sketches. And I said, I need you to show me how to make these.
Wow.
I said, I don't want to be working for someone for the rest of my life. I said, I need you to help
Oh,
me. I was next to Tess. I was
my
next
God.
to Tess. And
And
when
this
he
is back
saw
like
that,
in which year? 2000 and this is early 2000s.
2005,
Yeah.
2005. And he was like, you know what? He said, he went to the school, into the office, and he was like, you know what, said, if we could get one or two persons in the class, he said, I would do this for him. He said, I would do this for him. He said, I have to do this for him. He said, I saw the look on his face. He said, I've never
My
seen that
Lord.
before. I need to do this for him. When BTVI, when I went back and they told me, said, listen, we're going to run the course. And the course only had three persons in it, me and two other persons. That was it.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't believe it. And I sat down in that class and I thanked him so much. I said, listen, I said, you don't know how much this meant to me. Just for you to take on this. I know you don't have to be here tonight. You can actually be home with your family, but you
Wow.
choose to be here just so I can be able to
What's
learn
his
from
name?
me. His name is John Lewis.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's
John
still there
Lewis.
today. He's still there today. John Lewis.
Still
He
teaching the
taught
same
me.
program? The
Still
same
teaching the
courses?
same program. Yeah, the same.
Wow.
And he actually is so amazing. He has a lot of my photos sticked up in his class,
I'm sure.
newspaper clippings. And they said like he talks about you like the students are like, listen to me. They said he
Yes.
talks about you like we hear your name so much, like we never saw you before, and it felt like we
I
already
mean,
knew
you're
you for
one of his
years.
greatest mentees, right? He's really your
Yeah.
mentor. That's really who
Yes.
he is. I mean, he taught
Yes.
you, he sort of like the professor role at BTVI, right? But he's really
Exactly.
your mentor. But what
Hmm.
really did that for you, though, is you came to a place in your own life where you said, you know what? I have one plan. It's plan A, and it's got to work. I'm going to make
Yeah.
it happen. You know,
Yeah.
I grew up hearing this thing. You need to have a plan A and you need to have a plan B. When plan A
Yeah.
doesn't work, then you have a plan B to fall on.
Yeah.
And then there's
Yeah.
another mentor that I have. And then he would always say to me, listen, Lady Shema, I don't believe that. I believe it's this. You need to have a plan
Yeah.
A and plan A only. Because if you have
Only.
plan A only, you are going to see that you have no other choice but to make that work. You're not going to
Yeah.
make any excuses.
Yes.
You're not going to be thinking about a plan B or plan C. You're going to do everything in your power to make plan A work. And it's going to
Yes.
have to work because there's no
Yes.
plan B. And
Yes.
is that your same philosophy or no?
Yes, it is. Because I even actually a while ago, well, I often tell people that
Yeah.
I don't have a plan B because why have a plan B? Plan B will only distract me from plan A. So my plan
Wow.
A, that's it. That's it. That's it.
It
I don't
only
have a
acts as
plan
a
B.
distraction.
Yes, it's a
A
distraction.
distraction.
That's it. Because you will get so comfortable, like, you know what, if this don't work, you know what, I can do this on the side. You know, I often hear a lot of people said, I have something to fall backward on. I say, I don't fall backward. I say, I have something to fall forward on. I say, you don't want to fall backward. You want to fall forward. I don't use that
Wow.
term fall backward. Let's fall forward and let's
That's
keep creeping
amazing.
and let's keep crawling. Yeah,
That's
let's
amazing.
keep crawling.
So not
Yeah.
only are you a fashion connoisseur, you are also a great inspirationalist. I mean, I'm listening to you, and I myself, as the host of the show, I'm being inspired by you as an influencer, right? By what it is that you are doing. And talking about that, though, before we even get to KE Collections, and for those persons who may just be joining the show here now on Influencers, I'm speaking with fashion connoisseur, influencer, Mr. Kevin Evans, all the way from the Big Yard. And of course, now he's doing big things, Agwan, in New York City, NYC, right? I'm so very, very proud of
Yep.
you. But before we talk a little bit about that with the KE collection, I really want you to talk about your spiritual health, your spiritual journey. And the reason why I'm asking you this question is because even as you spoke about your brought-up-see, and you spoke about your relationship with your now deceased father, and you spoke about your relationship with your mother, and you spoke about even these internal kind of conversations that you would have with yourself and with God. And there's this
Yeah.
strong faith factor that is there.
Yeah.
Talk a bit
Yeah.
about the whole role of your relationship with God and really getting things started up and having the faith to really launch out into the deep.
So yeah, definitely. Like I said, back at home, I grew up in the church all my life. My dad
Yeah.
was a pastor, and I was brought up under, just you have to go to God for everything. You have to
Wow.
go to God for you always pray. You pray in season, in and out of season.
In and out. That's
And
right.
I in and out of season. We were brought up together. My family were brought up close. We were always brought up like, just to always stay in the Word, always keep in prayer, always put God first.
That's
And
good.
and that's how I was growing up. Keep God first. And I went through so much in my life, and I could be here all night. We can talk. If
Wow.
I begin to talk about my experiences, my spiritual walk, I mean,
Wow.
we would need a year and then some,
Wow.
you
Uh-huh.
know, because it's been so tough. The journey was so long, I mean,
Hmm.
I remember days, just crying out to God. I remember days going in the
Wow.
bathroom, just crying, trying
Mm.
to find my purpose. God, like,
Wow.
why am I here?
Why am I here? That's a
Why am
good
I here?
question. Exactly.
Why
Yeah.
am I here?
Hmm.
Like for me, I always tell people I'm driven by my purpose. I'm driven by purpose.
Hmm.
That's why I'm driven, and I always
Hmm.
ask God, like, I even question him and ask him, Lord, is this what you really have for me? Fashion design. Is this what you really have for me? Because when stuff wasn't working out, I had times where things wasn't working out. Persons were turning me down. I couldn't even get persons to believe in me. And so
Wow.
I started to ask him, I said, God, is this what you really want me to do? You
Hmm.
know? And it's like, it's almost like he just kept saying, like, listen, Kevin, listen, just be still. Listen,
Wow.
it's not your time.
Hmm.
It's not your time. It's not your season.
Hmm.
What I'm thinking he's been saying, listen, I have to prepare you for what's about to come.
That's good.
I have to
That's
prepare
good.
you. So
Hmm.
even if it takes me 20 years, 30, 40, 50 years to prepare
Hmm.
you, I have to prepare you to make
Hmm.
sure that I have to put the right ingredients inside there because
That's
what
great.
you about to face inside this industry, if
Hmm.
you don't have me, you will fail.
Hmm. That's
You will fail,
amazing.
period.
That's
And
amazing.
that's how I had to think.
Hmm.
Yeah.
About how long was that season in your life where you had to go back and forth and you had to just keep on asking and you had to be sure and you struggled with doubt? About how long would you say that period lasted in your life? A few years, a few months?
Um, a few years, I would say from
Oh,
years
goodness.
leading up to, I would say no later than maybe last year. People don't
As
understand.
recently as
I've been
last
doing
year.
fashion
Oh, my
as
goodness.
recently as last year. People
Mm.
don't understand. I've been doing this for 16 years.
Hmm.
And for the last 16 years,
Amazing.
God has been dealing
Hmm.
with me
Hmm.
in reference to this particular business for the last 16 years. And and this year, finally 2022,
Yes.
I've seen that a
Your breakthrough
tremendous
year.
breakthrough year. So I
Yes.
went through a 16-year drought, a
My
16-year
goodness.
drought. And people don't
Hmm.
understand. 16 years I've been out there just
Hmm.
trying to do this, trying to make this happen. And you know what happened throughout those years? Like I tried to do it on my own. There was points that I tried to do it at my own, and I had to catch myself and say, no. God said, listen, no, 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 no. You're not going to forget about me. I told you I got you, but listen, I just need you to be obedient and be humble. I got you. But
Yes.
in the meantime, I just need you to work on your craft. Work on your craft, and guess what? I have you. Your season is not now. And
You
that's the
know,
hardest thing to come, to deal with.
it
That's
is
so hard to
difficult,
deal with.
Kevin. It is
Yeah.
very difficult, and at this point of the show, I really wanted to talk about this later on down, but now that you're there, I'm going to really just allow you to delve on the same point. And that is for those persons who may be listening and they've got a dream, they've got a goal, they've got an aspiration, and it's not really kicking off. It's not really happening for them right now. But they know that this is the reason that I was born. This is my purpose. This is the reason why my heart is beating in my chest. This is the reason why I'm breathing. If I can't get to do this thing, I'm feeling like I'm going crazy because I know that this is the reason why I am here. But they are going on year 5, year 7, year
Yeah.
10, year
Yeah.
11, and
Yeah.
nothing's really happening just yet.
Uh-huh.
But they're not really realizing that they're in a
Yeah.
phase, that they're in a time, that they're in a season of
Yeah.
preparation, that they're in a season of being made ready to
Yeah.
handle what
Yeah.
greatness is going to bring to them, because you've got to be
Yeah.
able to handle success.
Yes. Yes. You have to. You have
So what
to.
would you say to him or her if they're listening right now?
If anyone out there is listening, right now, enjoy the process. Enjoy the
Enjoy the
process
process.
along the
That's
way.
the word.
Yeah, enjoy the process because, like I say, your season, what we do, we try to compare ourselves with other person,
Yeah, yeah.
because we see somebody else. Oh my goodness, look at this other designer. He's doing this. He's doing that. That's just his time. It's not your time. It's not your season. Everybody has a season. God is going to move not on our time, but on His time. So He's going to say, listen, this is, yeah, I gave you a gift, but this gift I give you is not just for you. It's for other persons. So that they can see me inside of you. See me inside of you, and I just need you to understand. It's almost like you haven't. We often say, well, we have faith. We have this kind of faith, and the faith that we think that we have, that we say, oh yeah, man, I have faith. My faith is good. My faith is great. But to God, that faith is so small. That faith is so small to Him. You think you have so much faith, but then He's saying that, listen, the faith that I want you to have is greater than that. Yeah, that ain't no faith, but I think what you think that you have, that's not the kind of level that I want you to be on. I want
Wow.
you to be on a higher level than that. Higher
Yeah.
level than that. So you got to come up higher. And when you think you are so high, it's like He said, no, I need you to come up a different notch. No, God, I can't do it. I can't do it. This is the highest I could go. Listen to me.
Wow.
I made you. I created you.
That's
I
right.
can tell you what you can do. I
That's
can
it.
tell you what you can do. You don't tell me what you can do. I know what you can do. I built you. And so and that's how I look at things.
That's so good, Kevin, because sometimes what we think we need when we are seated around the table of success, what we have in our minds is a whole lot less than what's actually really required for when we
Yeah.
arrive. But the
Yeah.
person, the creator, who's put that gift on the inside and that purpose on the inside, he knows exactly what it is that we need
Yeah.
when we sit
Yeah.
around that table. So
Yeah.
sometimes for someone it might take a year, for someone else it might take 5 years, for someone else it might take 10, 20 years. But he knows exactly what's required. And so we've got to trust his timing and we've got to trust the process, right?
Yeah.
And so talking about that though, you said
Yeah.
really now this year, 2022 is really your breakthrough year for real, right? And your
Yeah.
business, KE Collections, right? And I love what it is that you say here, that you aspire to achieve the level of commendation, like the names and the likes of Gucci, Tom
Yeah.
Ford, and Giorgio Armani, from the 242, the big yard, to the level and the commendation of a Gucci or a Giorgio Armani.
Yeah.
That really sounds like someone who's filled with a lot of faith. That's a mountaintop kind of, type faith. What are the strategies? What are the plans that you have in mind in order to really reach this kind of a level? This is global status here. This is iconic status. I see it that way already. I mean, you're
Yeah.
already making it happen. But what
Yeah.
are some of those strategies?
So right now, in the process, I just came back from Los Angeles. So sorry, New York Fashion Week. Just
Mm-hmm.
came back from New York Fashion Week about 2 weeks ago. The trip was a success. I was able to make a lot of connections.
Mm-hmm.
Before I even left, they wanted to invite me back to New York. They
Oh
said, "Listen,
wow.
we want you to come back." They have a show in September. They said, "We need you to come back." I just got an email from that same showcase. They said that we're heading to Miami and we
Mm-hmm.
need you to come to Miami. And before I left New York, they were like,
Mm-hmm.
"Listen, we need you to come to London Fashion Week," you know. And
Mm-hmm.
so now, I'm going to be heading to Los Angeles Fashion Week in a matter of 3 weeks. Now, the catch with that is that once I get to Los Angeles Fashion Week, I'm actually going to be featured in a magazine called Anastasia Magazine, which is in New
Mm-hmm.
York,
Mm-hmm.
and they're actually going to be running an advertisement for me in Times Square on the billboard in Times Square.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
yeah.
So
So,
we have 242 on the billboard in Times Square, all the way from
billboard in Times
Andros.
Square. This in the month of March, it will be in Times Square on the billboard.
Oh
They'll see the
wow.
brand, and persons can see it. They can go to the
Mm-hmm.
website. All of that information will be up on the billboard, and so all
Mm-hmm.
of that is going to be taking place in the month of March. And
Mm-hmm.
then, actually from there, we're actually in the process of communicating with like different stores inside Los Angeles, like H&M, Burlington. There's a lot of high-end stores that actually
Mm-hmm.
can run my line inside those stores. So we're
Mm-hmm.
in communication with those stores. Also, once we're done in LA, we'll be moving on to London Fashion Week, where we'll do the same thing. Just communicating with different stores, trying to get the brand in a lot of the luxury stores and stuff like that inside New York,
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles. So there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes. A lot of person don't see, and there's a
Yes.
lot of work being done right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll come out in time. A lot of person would hear in a matter of months. They would hear some stuff. So a lot of stuff is going to be coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is really a story of faith. This is really a story of endurance, right? Because you've
Uh-huh.
had a lot of endurance doing this for about 16 years, and really your year 2022 is really your year of breakthrough, right? So you really
Yeah.
had to endure. Now, this is not the first of many greats, and what will continue to be many greats for you. I see that you've been featured all the way back from the early 2000s and even doing some really great work
Yeah.
in the United States in 2013, the
Yeah.
Raw Miami Fashion Week there in
Yeah.
Miami, Florida, and then also the Los Angeles Fashion Week in
Yeah.
2016. I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you a question here, and that is, tell me what are two of the biggest and most memorable lessons that you have learned from those two international experiences there that I just listed. The one in 2013, the Raw Miami Fashion Week, and also in 2016, the Los Angeles Fashion Week. Two things that really stand out in your mind that help to get you to where you are now, and that will continue to help you on your journey as you aspire to really attend or ascend to global domination. That's really what I hear coming from you.
Yeah.
So, what are those two major lessons that really stand out from those two
Uh,
experiences specifically?
so for Miami Fashion Week, what stood out to me is consistency.
Okay.
Consistency and being persistent.
Hmm.
When I went to Miami Fashion Week, it was actually more of a competition.
Hmm.
I placed like top three out of 15,000 designers
Hmm.
inside Miami. And if,
Hold on.
if I,
Pause right there. You said top three out of 15,000 global designers
15,000,
in the United
15,000, that's
States.
correct. Yes, 15,000.
Oh my goodness. Come on,
Yeah,
somebody.
yeah,
That's amazing, Kevin.
yes, yes,
That's unbelievable. Listen to me.
yes,
Wow. This
yeah,
is just really
it
hitting me
is.
right now. Third out of
Yeah,
15,000. All right. And
15,000
go on to the
designers.
second lesson before I go back to that because I've got another question to ask you on
Okay.
that. But what's the
And then
second lesson?
the second lesson I would say for Los Angeles Fashion Week is that, anything is possible.
Yes.
Because out of that showcase, I actually was awarded to do, boxing attires for some of, the famous Floyd Mayweather, his boxers,
Yes.
and they fought in some of my pieces in Vegas, Las Vegas. Yeah.
So you got to do some special pieces for them.
Yeah, for them. And one of the fighters is from Nigeria.
Hmm.
It's a Nigerian boxer, and then some American fighters and this was their first fight, and they
Hmm.
won like their first fights in my boxing apparel.
In your
Yeah,
boxing apparel
the
with
boxing apparel. Yeah,
KE collections on the tide.
on the tide, on the tide.
How did that
Yep.
make you feel? Was it really that experience that really showed you that, hey, I can really take this thing to the world? It really helped to build your confidence and your self-esteem in what it is that you do?
Right, definitely. Because
Mm-hmm.
when they saw my work, because the lady, one of the managers, one of his managers saw my work, and they
Mm-hmm.
came to me and they were
Mm-hmm.
like, "Listen, have you ever thought about creating sportswear?" I said, "Sportswear." They said like boxing apparel. I was like, not really. They said you should try it. They said, you know what? I want to take you out for lunch. So they took me out for lunch,
Wow.
downtown Los Angeles. We sat down for lunch. They were like, you know what? Just get whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to talk to you. We
Mm-hmm.
sat down, we ate, and they started to show me some pictures with different boxes and stuff like that. And they
Mm-hmm.
said, you know what? Let me just do a
Mm-hmm.
sample for you, and guess what? I would send it back to you,
Mm-hmm.
and you let me know what you think. So what I did is I did a sketch for them, send
Mm-hmm.
them some rough draft of some sketches. They were blown away. They were blown away.
Wow.
And I actually started to did some custom boxes, and I did like jackets and stuff for them, corner jackets. And
Mm-hmm.
I got them packed, shipped,
Mm-hmm.
and they sent a video when they first got the boxing apparel. They just went insane. They was like, wow, like this is unbelievable. Like
Mm-hmm.
they say
That's
this is
amazing.
better than what we got at the factory. They say this is better than what we got done at the factory.
So the
And
work
I
that
could
was done by a Bahamian fashion designer is better than the work that they got from the
at the
factory.
factory. I
Come
couldn't
on.
believe that. I say, come on, man, you're serious? They say this is way better than the factory's
That's
work.
right.
And they actually sent photos when they were trying on everything. They
Mm-hmm.
sent me videos with the
Mm-hmm.
boxers going and walk into the ring.
Mm-hmm.
When they got into the ring, being announced, they sent me videos with the boxers fighting with the K logo that's on the pants. I was like, whoa, like what is this? What am I watching? And listen, I couldn't believe it. It was like so much for me one time. The only thing
Mm-hmm.
I could have do was just break down because it was just, I couldn't believe it. I actually had an opportunity. Someone believed in me. Someone
That's
believed in
right.
my work enough to say, listen, I want to give him a try. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. And it was a success for you.
yeah,
That's really amazing. And, I really believe that that
definitely.
is just the beginning of many successes that you're about to experience because you have the right mindset. You've got the right mentality. You've got the right heart. It sounds like you've got good community around you now. I know that BTVI played a critical role in you really being
Yeah,
able to make it over there to New York and to
yes,
show the kind of majesty that the Bahamas has to offer, even when it comes
yes,
to the fashion industry. And so, no
yes,
man is an island. No man,
no,
stands alone. We all need persons to help and to gather around us and helping to make our dreams and our goals a reality. So with that said, we're going to go to a break right now. For those persons just tuning in, you're listening into Influencers here on Guardian Talk Radio on 96.9 FM. I am your host, Lady Shema. I'm speaking with influencer, fashion connoisseur, and pioneer, Mr. Kevin Evans, all the way from the 242 Big Yard. So please stay tuned on the other side of the break. We'll be back.
There's this place you can buy quality men and ladies fragrances like Versace and Jimmy Choo for the best prices in town. It's easy to find with lots of parking and great customer service too. Want to know where? I'm talking about Sawyer's Treasures and Things, located right next to Sawyer's Studios in the Flowers Plaza, Carmichael Road. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 to 5. Call them now at 361-7299. Got it? Sawyer's Treasures and Things at 361-7299.
Hey, Dad, want a race?
Well, let's see who's trying to keep up with who today.
Oh, 'cause you need a head start?
I'm already way ahead of you, son.
Keep up with what matters. Joint Care supplements your active lifestyle by supporting your bones, cartilage, muscles with essential nutrients. Joint Care helps to reduce inflammation with omega-3 and replenishes glucosamine, a natural compound vital to healthy cartilage and joints. Choose the Joint Care formula that is right for you. Supplex, Complete, and Max are available at your local pharmacy. Joint Care, a part of the 7 C's family of vitamins and supplements.
A ACG Wholesale is the answer for retail grocery store owners and everyday shoppers who want to save big. ACG carries a variety of drinks, snacks, meat products, essential dry goods like rice and yellow grits, plus lots of wholesome produce. And ACG Wholesale is a proud distributor of Borden's Milk, opened Monday to Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., located next to Phoenix Supermarkets on East Street South. Call 392-1155. That's ACG Wholesale with quality service and great prices. Welcome back to Influencers here on Guardian Talk Radio 96.9 FM. I am your host, Lady Shema, and I am speaking with this great influencer all the way from the Big Yard, the 242 Andros. He is Mr. Kevin Evans. He is a fashion designer connoisseur. Believe you me, one of the best. I have seen his work, and we're going to be talking more about what it is that he's doing now and what he will be doing in the future. And during the break, Kevin, you just told me something really interesting. You just really wooed and wowed all of the observers over there in New York, and with your work, with your original work when it comes to fashion design. And you said something about some Bahamian music, and ain't no music sweeter than Bahamian music. What happened with this Bahamian music at that show down there in New York?
Well, what we normally do, what I wanted to do this time is that I didn't want to use like American music or anything like that. I wanted to put just Bahamian on the stage. So we actually used some of Julian Believe music. So if Julian, I know if even if he isn't listening, someone out there knows him.
Let him know.
I appreciate you so much for allowing us to use your music.
Good stuff.
Soon as that Junkanoo music started, I had persons in the back of the room just dancing. They were like, "What kind of music is this?" You know? And I was like, "Okay, we got them.
Yes.
You know? And so once that music started, and they was like, "Oh my goodness!" So it's like even to those persons, Bahamian artists out there, like now I'm heading to LA Fashion Week. I'm still trying to put together music. If persons want to reach out to me, if they say, "Listen, I want you to use some of my music," you know, I'm going to London in the month of June. Listen, I want you to use my music at London. You know, we'll put together a runway demo for you. You know, I'm telling you,
a runway demo. I love it.
Yeah, person were asking about the music. They said, "Who is this? Who are these artists? Who are they?" Because we use different Bahamian artists, and they were just like blown away. So that's another avenue of getting Bahamian artists out there. You know, just by hearing their music on a big stage like that.
Definitely, it is another avenue. You know, because I was just talking to you as well over the break about the orange economy. You know, we have a lot of government leaders and even persons who are vying, you know, to get into the House, and they would say, "Listen, here's what we're going to be doing for artists and artisans once we get into the House." And then more times than not all the time, but more times than not, things tend to go a little bit quiet once they ascend to the House, right? And I believe that there is such a pivotal role, of course, that government leaders can play when it comes to really empowering our artists and artisans when it comes to putting the Bahamas on the world stage. Because when you take your craft out there, persons ask, "Where are you from? Where is this sound from? I've never heard of before." Well, this is Junkanoo. This is the sound of the Bahamas, right? And that's tourism front and center. But is the empowerment there, right? And I want you to speak as a fashion pioneer and designer, putting the Bahamas on the world stage in New York, and then you'll be going to London next, and then you have your eyes set on the continents, right? Europe and Asia you're talking about for the future, right? And so what are some of those specific things, and I want you to be really specific in your answer, please, that government leaders can do when it comes to really empowering and facilitating your vision and your dream? Not just you as an artist, but other artists out there as well in other areas when it comes to the orange economy.
When it comes to artists, and I hope someone from the government is listening to me. Listen, the biggest thing about getting out there on the world stage for persons is funding. Funding is
I'm sure.
a major role. And for me, the only reason why I was able to go to a lot of my shows is because of family and friends and me just personal saving. For instance, like I was invited to Paris Fashion Week. Just alone, the showcase at Paris was about $17,000.
Oh my goodness.
That's a showcase. And that's just being in the show. That's not even hotel. That's not even transportation. And you
That's
would
just
probably
being
look at a
in the
maybe
show?
that's just being in the show.
$17,000? Wow.
$17,000. And you know why they charge you so much? But because of persons that they have at that show. You have celebrities. You have I talking about so much big name in fashion that's actually attending these shows. So you're going to
The
pay for
caliber
that,
of
you know?
platform.
Exactly. You're going to pay for that. I understand that, you know, and so government just need to assist persons. If persons has funding, you know, I think they can do so much. Just support them, you know. Just even if they have to send maybe a representative with those individuals just to capture these stuff on camera, on footage, so that they can display for the whole Bahamas. Because we do it with
Great
the
idea.
Olympics.
Yes,
We do it with
yes.
the Olympics. When persons goes for the Olympics, you know, I talking about you have a whole ZNS team, live team over there that's recording and stuff. Do the same thing with your artists. You know, if you have someone that's going away
That's
to
great.
perform, you know,
Yes.
send someone along with that person to catch all of this is on all that on footage. You know, because that's once in a lifetime. You know, going out there on the world stage. And for Paris, they said they wanted me to come and represent my country.
Wow.
They invite one designer from each country to represent at Paris Fashion Week. They say we want you to come to Paris to represent your country, the Bahamas.
And how did
That's
they
what they
find
told
you?
us.
How did they identify you? I mean, because there are
Um,
many fashion designers here. Of course, you are like bar none, right? You're at the top
yeah,
in my
yeah,
eyes, right?
yes.
But how did they come by Mr. Kevin Evans?
Social media. A lot of them
Okay.
actually what they do, they go scouting on social media and they watch social media a lot. And each show I went in was from social media. They send me invites, say, listen, we came across your social media page and we saw what we like. And you won't believe most of those shows like Miami and Los Angeles, I had to fly over to show them my clothing, to show them the quality of my clothing before they actually put me in that show. So your quality of your clothing has to be a certain standard. You can't just say, okay, I want to be in the show. They
Wow.
need to see the quality of your
You had to
clothing
fly
and
there to show them the quality of your clothing before
to,
you were
to
admitted
show them
officially
before.
into the show.
Yep,
This is
yep. When I
serious
went to
business.
Miami, yeah, when I went to Miami, I had to fly over for a day. Came back that morning, went that morning, came back that afternoon, and I had to take a few pieces, and they actually took my clothing and they went through my clothing, checking out the
Wow.
detail work, the craftsmanship. And if it wasn't up to standard, then you waste the trip. That was a trip wasted. So
Wow.
for me, I was willing to take that chance because I believed in
You
myself. I
believe
was like, listen.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, I believed in myself. This is one shot I have at this. If they like it, they
Yes.
like it. If they don't, I would live with that, you know. But guess what? I would never know unless I go. And I just
Yeah.
went over for a day, ran there just for them to see clothing. And after that day, they were like, "Did you make these stuff?" I said, "Yes." They said, "We want to tell you something. Looking at these clothing right here." They said, he said, "You see all of these designers in here? All of them are designers." He said, "But none of these designers sew their own clothing. All of their clothing are done by either some factory or by someone." He
Wow.
said, "Let me tell you," he
So they
said,
just
"You're
sketch
different."
and design, but you actually sketch, design, and sew. You make
And so,
your own clothes.
right.
Right. Wow.
He said you're cut from a different cloth. He said you're he said you're a different breed from these guys in here.
My
He said
goodness.
it's very rare to find a designer like you who actually can sketch and can actually build his design from scratch.
From
And
scratch.
so from scratch, they said, listen, they said you in the show. You in the show. Automatic.
So
They
you
said
see why
because
you had to do that
yeah,
drapery
yes,
course at
yes,
BTVI, and you didn't really quite
exactly.
understand, right?
Didn't understand.
From
Did
the
not
foundation, and
understand.
you got to build. Right? It's a
Exactly. Never
process.
understand.
Wow. Which year
Yes.
was that?
Yes, it's a
Which year was
process.
that
So
with
that's
Paris? Which year was that?
this
Was that recently or that was
uh, well, Paris was recently. They just invited me to Paris this past January, this past February, because they have shows every so often. You wouldn't believe this is the third or fourth time I was invited to Paris. Third or fourth
Oh
time
my goodness,
I was
amazing.
invited to Paris to showcase. Never went because of funding. The funding wasn't there, so I was had to turn down Paris over and over, and they keep coming back. Listen, we need
Have
you
you
to, we
ever
need you,
thought
we need you,
about
you know. And so
partnering with corporate Bahamas? Partnering with corporate Bahamas and really reaching out to some of those, major names and brands and companies to say, here is what I can do for our country and putting the country on the map. And then also, too, for your own company, right? and through my name,
Yes.
through what it is that I'm doing out in the international arena, and I will take your name and your brand with me. Partner with me, right? I'm really feeling
Yes.
you, man, because I have seen your work with
Yes.
my own two eyes, and the minute I saw it, remember, even when you were making masks for me, right,
Yeah.
at the beginning of the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
I said there is
Yeah.
something about his work. I would wear your formal mask like at a wedding or something like that, or at church, and persons would literally stare at me, right? And I'm thinking, what's happening here? And they're looking at the mask. They're like, who made
Yeah.
that? I am serious. Your work has that kind of distinction
Yeah.
to it, right? And so, thinking about it,
Thank
Sidney
you.
Poitier, who recently died, when he passed away because of the greatness of the legacy of his work, everyone was talking about Cat
Yeah.
Island. Everyone was talking about the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And this is what happens
Yeah.
when we support our artists and artisans, when we push the orange industry, right? And the orange
Yeah.
economy. And that's exactly what I'm hoping and praying that we're going to see, more of. Let's talk a little bit more about the financial side of things, though. I mean, you're really going after this with all of your heart, mind, and soul. What's it like in your mind as it relates to your plans and strategy in which you have on paper towards making this profitable for you, right? Not just getting the name out there, but where you can see the bank and see the financial reward.
Right. I happy you asked that. So what right now, what's in the making right now, we're doing working on online shopping. So that
Oh,
person can
great.
actually, yes, we're going to be working on online shopping so that person can go online. They can use their credit card if they see a piece they like, and they can just, because that's the way of the world right now, online shopping. So that's what we're going to be working on right now, and then doing like a lot of marketing strategies,
A lot of
marketing
marketing
strategy
strategies. Uh-huh.
is on social media. Yeah, on social media. Like right now, I have a team actually that actually is taking charge of that. Dealing with marketing. Reaching out to the different stores across the U.S. and even local stores here. To get the brand inside the stores and just doing our advertisement. So our persons will see in the upcoming months. They would see a lot of stuff going on with the K Collection brand. That person can just walk and just say, hey, listen, I need a suit. They can go online and say, listen, put in your size. These are the sizes that we have. You can get your suit, and you can get it within a matter of maybe a day or two. Because we'll have sizes, and we're going to be working along with our factories as well, because we're going to get stuff now manufactured. So that's what we're looking at, getting clothing manufactured, where you can have pieces that are already made. My
Factories
design.
where? Are you talking about international factories or?
International factories.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, international factories. Now, we also are looking into factories that do work for the big boys, we call them, like the Armanis, the Versaces, and the
Wow.
Gucci's. And we already were looking into those factories that actually deals with a lot of their clothing, just to see how, stuff work with them, to see if we can get them to create some pieces, my design. Of course, with me being present, let them know this is what I want. This is what I want to be done. Now, uh, persons who have big money, they would say,
Ah,
listen, I want your hands on my suit.
come
Then you
on
can
now.
get
This is
that done.
another level.
Yeah, then that's a different level. We can sit down, consultation. I can show you what we have, what looks good for you, what works for you, and then we can put it together like that. If you want a private, one-on-one with myself, then we can do that. Or if you just want a ready-made suit, a ready-made shirt, you can get that and just purchase that and have it shipped to you or delivered to you. you know.
That's
And so
great.
there's a lot of stuff that we're working on right now as we speak. I talking about since I came from New York, we hit the ground running. My team and I, we hit the ground running, and so we have so many stuff going on, and everyone has a task. So you have persons calling stores abroad, persons dealing with the fashion weeks, making
Yes.
sure that we're getting into the right fashion week, not just any fashion week, because you can go to a fashion week, you can showcase, and the only thing that happened at the end of the day is just a show, So you want to go to a fashion show that actually, you can actually that means something, that at the end of the day, that when you come back, you get some revenue from it. You get some contact information or stores, buyers. That's the whole thing. You want buyers to say, listen, I need to put in an order for maybe like 50 or 100 suits. I need those particular suits in my store, and that's what you want. You want buyers to attack you.
These are really some great ideas, and you're really speaking about that word that's called entrepreneurship right now. And you have a very entrepreneurial mind. I mean, you are a business owner, but I really hear a lot of entrepreneurial kind of characteristics coming out from you right now. And with that said, of course, towards the beginning of the show, you were talking about your earlier humble beginnings with the business and even going before God and asking Him, am I on the right track? Am I doing the right thing? Because I'm not really experiencing any success here now, right? And then now you're talking about having persons helping you with the marketing aspect, right? And helping you with getting your name out there and helping you with setting up, an online store and that kind of a type thing. So what would you say are those things that you've done, those strategies, those things that you've done in really growing your business? How did you go from humble beginnings to now having persons on your team helping you to grow and expand your brand?
Um, when I first started, I started with a team of maybe two persons, two persons, and then we actually eventually grew. Now those persons eventually, basically they modeled for me, because I started off doing, pieces, and
Oh,
the person
okay.
say, listen, we would model for you free of charge. They never charged me for modeling. They just said, listen, we'll do photo shoots for you. Never had to pay
Wow.
them a dime. They said you don't have to give us any
So
money.
persons
And then
invested in your dream. That's really what happened.
invest invested in my dream.
Hmm.
And I also, a lot of the shows I had, like, person said, listen, if the show, like, one of my shows I did was like about $5,000 just to
Hmm.
showcase.
Wow.
And I had one of the guys on my team say, listen, this is $2,000. You
Hmm.
know, this
Wow.
this is my investment to you.
Hmm.
And these are just persons with regular 9 to 5 jobs.
Hmm.
These are just regular persons, not even no big persons. They have family just like myself. They
Hmm.
have kids and everything, but they said, listen,
They
I'm willing to
believed in
invest
you.
this in you because I believe in you. You
Hmm.
know, then someone else came and said, look here, this is $1,700. I believe in you. Take this. And I was like, wow, like, you guys, are you sure? Like, you sure? And they was like, listen,
Wow.
they said, if anybody I would want to invest my money in, it's you. They said, because you're a person that knows what you want in life, you know
Hmm.
what you want, and you're going to go after it. They said, even if nothing comes out of this, my money was not wasted because you tried. They said, at the end of the day, you tried. We believe inside
Wow.
you. And that's what I basically had, and then it started to grow. When persons started to catch on and see my determination, then I
Hmm.
had more persons coming on to listen. Before I know it, I went away to one of my shows with a team of 10 persons.
Wow.
10 person.
Hmm.
Person paid for their plane tickets, um, out of their pockets. Person paid for
They
rooms out
paid
of
for
their
their own
pocket.
plane tickets
Their own plane
because they
tickets.
want to
Said,
see you
we gonna,
succeed.
because they want to see you succeed. So we're
Hmm.
gonna go just to be with you, to help you, to give you that support. And that's what they've been doing. Like, listen, I even didn't have to put my hands in my pockets for food. They're like, no, we got you. We got you. They said, we just
Mm.
want you to focus on your show. Anything you need, they said, we got you.
Hmm.
And that's how the team, grew. I lost a lot of persons along the way because person moved on to doing other
Hmm.
stuff like in the US and stuff like that. But
Yes.
eventually the core of that team is
Hmm.
still together.
Hmm.
The core, the foundation of that team is still together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's really amazing, because you're talking about persons investing in your dream, right? I just had to pause there just now because that really ministered to me so very powerfully. Um, but we've got to hold on to our own dream because sometimes
Yeah.
we don't even endure to the point to where a person see us working so hard and they see that there's something here that is so unique and that is so valuable and that's a treasure and that deserves a chance to make it because it's making a difference. And then also too looking at the unique quality that you present. And sometimes when we give up in year 3, in year 5, in year 7, we don't make it to the year 10 where God has those people ready and waiting to assist you and to be a community to you to help to make you a success. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned from you this evening, Mr. Kevin Evans, fashion connoisseur and designer, who is now going to take Kevin Evans' collection now to Asia and Europe. That is the future of KE. And I see it happening already. Thank you so very, very much for being here with me on the show on influencers and continue to be the great influence that you are being, especially in the realm and in the area of fashion design.
Thank you so much. And just before I leave, I just wanted to make know that happy you mentioned Sidney Poitier, because
Yes.
I often told persons this week that I'm going to be the second person to win a award, an Oscar, because I told them that I eventually want to get into movie production, movie wardrobe, movie styling. I want to work with people like Tyler Perry does. I want to work in Hollywood,
Wow.
on movie, film, and stuff like that. So,
Yes.
yeah,
And I believe that you're going to be a success because you have all of the inner workings to bring this to fruition. And I'm just going to speak that on you right now. I believe indeed that it will happen. And so that's it here
thank
for
you.
influencers here on Guardian Talk Radio 96.9 FM. Your host, Lady Shema. Until next time, blessings.
Influencers was brought to you by
Joint Care, supplements to keep you active. Sawyer Studios, located in the Flowers Plaza, Carmichael Road, West. Global Transformation Media, transforming you from the inside out. The Affirmation Nation. And Guardian Talk Radio. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.